Today we're going to work on making metal superhero logos. So your first mission is to decide what color of the metal you want to use. So this is aluminum that's coated in a brass color. So you could use the brass side or the aluminum side. Whatever side you're going with, that will be your front. So if I want this to be silver, I'm going to take my logo design, which is large and uses my space wisely. I'm going to tape it down. You only need 2 pieces of tape. So we're trying to make it so it's easier to take off your metal without bending it. I had to line everything up first, make sure my whole design is on the metal, not hanging off. Then, once it is taped, you need newspaper. And not just one sheet. I've got like a whole section of the newspaper here. And I'm going to fold it for good measure. The point of this newspaper is to create a cushion for your metal, which will let a pen or other sharp object sink into it, and it will stretch the metal. So I'm laying the metal on my folded newspaper, and you're going to take every line you have and trace it to the best of your ability. Now, it's a good idea to keep the pen steady and try to avoid the dreaded sketch line, because if you sketch your lines, the problem is it will show on your metal. See that? See that bump? That's from my pen pressing down. So trace carefully. Also, if you get to any areas like this where things overlap, make sure that you bump and jump over them. So bump and jump over the brush, so I don't accidentally put a line through it. So trace all of your lines. If you need to get a ruler out again to trace some things, or if you need to get your round stencil out again to help you keep control, you can do that. All of my lines are now traced. I'm going to double check the back side and make sure I can see all of my lines. And I didn't mention, but the pen doesn't even need to work. It can be a dead pen. All we need is that ballpoint tip, that metal tip, to help push the metal down. It cannot be a felt tip pen. Those are soft and squishy, and that will not do the job. Alright, once my lines are all traced, taking my paper and ripping it in two. This is so we can get it off without tearing up your metal. So my design off. And I'm going to check my lines one more time. If you have any lines that look too shallow, we can make them deeper with this tool. On this end of this embossing tool, that's what these are called. They're made for stretching and pushing things. The pen tip is the one you want for drawing skinny lines. This end I don't use too much because it's kind of pointy, and especially if you're on the brass side, pointy things will scratch that brass coating right off, and then you will have silver shining through. Okay, we're going to double check lines, trace anything that's not deep enough, make it a little deeper, make sure you have your newspaper underneath, and then we will begin the tooling process. And tooling is just the art of stretching out metal. It is possible for this metal to go too far. If you get carried away with your tooling and you stretch it too much, you can get a hole, and there's no way to fix it. So don't come crying to me. So I'll just tell you, nope, nothing we can do about it. All right, the tools. This is the spatula tool, and the end we use the most is the curved one. And what we want to do is figure out which things on this design need to stick up and which things need to go in, because I should see both in your design, because we're trying to make this look like a 3D logo, like the new superhero logos. So things that need to come out, my paintbrush, it needs to come out. So I'm going to flip it to the back side, take the tool, and I am rubbing inside the lines. It's kind of like you're coloring without the color. So you're trying to keep it smooth. Make sure you're not getting any weird ridges or anything. And the more you rub, the more the metal stretches, as long as there's newspaper under it. Then I'll skip over my little line here and rub some more. And notice how I'm holding the tool. I'm gripping it with my fingers back here, and my index finger is on top, pushing it down. Gives me more pressure. Now I can flip it over here. See how this is sticking out now? Woo. And opposite, the part that's sticking out, I can push things down really gently, and that will make it protrude even more. But I'm trying to not push too super hard. Now, if you have something on the front that you need to go in, you use the front side. And if it's small, we use the pen tool. So like these little rivets here, I can just carefully rub those. If you are rubbing with your tool and you accidentally plow over a line that you need, like if I push back here and accidentally smush this line, it's an easy fix. Just flip it over, use the pen tool, and draw it back in. And when you are done stretching everything, you're going to very, very carefully cut your design out.